Hello, welcome again to the YouTube series Papa Lee and the Aliens. I am your host and narrator Henry Lee Chenault, aka Mystery Answer Man, aka Papa Lee. Today's episode is entitled Noah's Great Flood. Before I get started, I need to do a little housekeeping. A couple of things I didn't cover last time about Atlantis. I wanted to show you here the Strait of Kerch is where I said the Pillars of Hercules were. Now, all the experts claim that the Pillar of Hercules was on the Strait of Gibraltar, which is the strait that goes from the Atlantic into the Mediterranean. That strait is 9 miles wide, so you'd have really a hard time getting two beacons on each side of it to guide your ships. The Strait of Kerch that goes into the Sea of Azov, or into this plain here, the Atlantean Lake, was actually only 3 miles wide, and you can actually see across it. It's that narrow. So there were two beacons on each side to guide ships into the port of Atlantis. I want to show you here what it would look like if this is where Atlantis would be. You have the 1,100-mile canal that goes all the way around it that makes it the island. You have the city or the hill of Atlantis in the center. You have a 5-mile canal, or 5.5-mile canal that goes from the Atlantean Sea up to the hill. So after the great flood of Noah, all of this flooded, and this is what actually destroyed Atlantis, was the great flood here. And you can see where all Atlantis would have been right in this area. Today the Sea of Azov is sometimes only 3 feet deep in one area. It's about 48 feet at its deepest part, which is right here at the opening of the Strait of Kerch, and the Strait of Kerch is also about 48 feet. So anyway, I wanted to show you that. The other thing is, the question is, will it ever be found? Well, I told you that all of that silted in to where it's only 3 feet deep now. So there's 300 feet of silt and soil that's laying on top of it. Ground penetrating radar will only penetrate 49 feet. So, and if it's wet like it is right now, it would only penetrate a few inches. So if you were to drill down in there to get sediments to check it out, then you'd probably only find burnt mud bricks, which are of course already decomposed. And the only metal that might be down there would be the lining of the canals, which was tin, auriculum, and brass. That would only be probably a 1/4 to 1/8 inch thick at the most. And if you had sonar that could reach down there, it'd be like looking at a tuna if you're out deep sea fishing down that deep, and you'd be looking for a minnow, which would only just be a couple of inches long. So it would be nearly impossible to find anything. So, and again, it's located in Russia, and Russia's not going to let you go in there and look for it. So we're going to go ahead and get on to Noah's Great Flood. Some of this episode's information was taken from the book Noah's Flood, written by William Ryan and Walter Pittman. The book is an excellent resource concerning the flooding of the Black Sea around 3000 BC. From their book I will draw facts, and of course I will tell you my answers as well. So let's have some fun. The time is 3114 BC. It is the beginning of the Mayan calendar. The place is the valley where the first 10 patriarchs lived. The valley is located off the southern coast of Turkey between Samsun and Sinope, nestled between a range of mountains that are submerged today. All 9 of the first patriarchs have died. Noah is the 10th patriarch and lives in the valley with his wife, his 3 sons, and their 3 wives. In the northeastern portion of the Black Sea region lays the civilization of Atlantis. The people of Atlantis have turned away from God and are a disappointment to him. God feels that the people must be destroyed. So let me show you again where everybody lived. This is Sinope, and this is Samsun right here. There's an underground range of mountains that's just off the coast here, and there would have been a valley because this was 300. The water level was 300 feet lower back in Noah's time. So there would be a valley that came down through here. Here's the Kilsamack River that we talked about. Big delta here where a lot of farming and fishing and just real fertile land. So that's where everybody was. Of course, further up, right here is Samsun and Sinope, and over here would be the Atlantean civilization. So God found favor with Noah. Noah was told to build a boat, an ark, to save his family and his animals. Genesis 6:14 through 16. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms thou shalt make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without. Pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. In other words, it was 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet tall. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt they make. So what is gopher wood? This is the only time that it is ever mentioned in the Bible or ancient literature. Some experts believe it was cypress. The answer to the question, what is gopher wood? It's bamboo. Today there is no bamboo in the Black Sea region. It went extinct when the Black Sea went from fresh water to salt water after the flood. Today it would be submerged under 300 feet of salt water. Bamboo grows from 50 degrees north latitude to 47 degrees south latitude. The Black Sea falls within that range. With fresh water running through the valley where Noah lived, it would be a perfect place for bamboo to grow. The reason bamboo is called gopher wood is because it is hollow like a gopher's burrow or tunnel. Archaeologists have found that boats made in this time period and region were not made of wood at all, but were made of reeds and papyrus. Sails had not even been invented yet. Reed boats were common in Mesopotamia around 3800 BC. The second question you should be asking is, what is pitch? Pitch is bitumen, a form of tar or asphalt. It is present in Turkey. Where you have a fault line or a cracking in the Earth's crust, bitumen will come to the surface, just like it does in the La Brea tar pits in California. There is a major fault along the coast of Noah's Valley. The bitumen was only applied to the inside and outside of the ark. It was not applied to the bottom of the ark, nor to the walls of the interior. Everything would stick to the pitch. It would just be a big mess. So let me show you here. Let me take this off. We showed you the mountain range. We're going to show you, this is the fault line here. Right here's the mountain range. And this is the fault line. Anytime you have a fault line like this, bitumen will come to the surface. So that's going to be the area where they will get the pitch. Third question, how was the, I want to show you bamboo. Bamboo right here. That's, a lot of people will argue against that because none of it's found there. It was there then. It's not there now. Third question is, how was the ark built? The ark was built like a South Sea raft, but only bigger, much like a giant log cabin. The floor was built like a huge raft of logs like you see on the rivers in the Pacific Northwest. A bamboo section was fitted together with smaller sized bamboo. You simply push the ends of the two bamboo sections together. You could even use shorter bamboo sections as internal spacers. Both methods would make the two sections waterproof and airtight to provide buoyancy. The sections of the bamboo could be lashed together with rawhide strips. The rawhide could be moistened to make it shrink. After drying, the rawhide could be coated with bitumen to protect it from swelling in the water and becoming loose. To make the floor of the ark even stronger, one layer of the bamboo could be run lengthwise and the other crosswise. This is called cold molding in the boat industry. And yes, I too am a boat builder. I'll show you here. These sections of bamboo could just be stuffed inside of each other. They could be lashed together with the rawhide. And you can have just internal spacers that fits these two together. To show you, this makes it airtight completely. The boat itself, I said it was 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet tall. This is the same structure or architecture that these cargo ships are made in. If you ever look at a cargo ship that hauls all these shipping containers, they are built in the same fashion. I said this is bamboo. I want to go over here. I actually made a little model of a boat out of straw, plastic straws. Made it here, just stuck them inside each other, just like I said you would with the bamboo. This thing floated like crazy. I mean, it just floated right up on top of the water, because all of these straws are airtight. And to give you a little example, this is the boat that I built too. So I know a little bit about building boats. So, okay. And lastly, the question that I've never heard addressed by any of the experts: how did Noah and his family get rid of all the sewage and animal waste? They were on the ark from February 17th until February 27th of the following year. That is 375 days. That is a lot of poop and pee. Genesis 7:11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken, and the windows of the heavens opened. In the same day entered Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, unto the ark. Genesis 8:14. And in the second month of the 7th and 20th day was the earth dried up, and God spoke to Noah, saying, Go forth in the ark, thou and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. So I hear you saying, hey dummy, they threw the sewage out the window that God told Noah to make. Sorry, no cigar for you. The window was not opened until 14 days before Noah and his family left the ark. Genesis 8:1-16. And God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. The fountain also of the deep and the windows of the heaven were stopped, and the rain from the heaven was restrained. And the water returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. And he sent a raven which went forth to and fro, until the waters were dried up from the earth. Also he sent forth a dove from him, to see if the waters were abated from off of the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him in the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand, and took her, and pulled her into the ark. And he stayed yet another 7 days. And again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came into him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. And he stayed yet other 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. And in the 2nd month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dried. And God spoke to Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife and thy sons wives with thee. So what is the answer to the question? How did Noah get rid of all the sewage? I want to say something right here. I raised rabbits and chickens in a 10 by 12 air-conditioned building. Well, one day the air conditioner went out and the ventilation wasn't on. And when I walked into that room, the smell, just after 24 hours, the smell of the ammonia burned my eyes and just nearly took my breath away. So I can imagine what it would be like if there was no way to get rid of all this ammonia from the urine and all the fecal material after 375 days. So something had to be done with it. How did Noah get rid of all the sewage? Here it is. The ark had 3 floors. The inside and outside walls of the ark were pitched with bitumen. The floors in the bottom of the ark were not pitched. On the first level there was nothing. It would be half submerged during part of the voyage. The second level would house all the animals. Noah's family and the other small animals and all of the animals' food would be on the top floor. The feed or hay could be dropped to the large animals on the second level. When the animals pooped and peed, the waste material would fall between the cracks of the bamboo floor. The waste would then be washed out to sea through the floor of the first level. Ingenious. You have the first sewage treatment system. Not only was would Noah avoid the stench of the sewage, but he could also keep the environment healthy. The boat would actually be lighter at the end of the voyage because of the feed being eaten. The removal of the waste would also lighten the load. So let me show you again here. We had 3 levels. This first level, this level here is not going to be pitched with bitumen. It's going to have cracks in between the bamboo. Same here and same here. When the feed was dropped down to the animals on the second floor, Noah and his family stayed up here. These animals pooped and peed. It fell down into the water here, and then it washed out through the cracks in the bamboo. And that's how they got rid of the waste. No one has ever addressed that issue. So I know that's how it happened. I'm trying to think. I had something else to say. Nope, that's it. Okay. I will now take you step by step on the actual flooding. Oh, as far as the drinking water was concerned, a gutter system was made from split sections of bamboo. After 40 days of rain, enough drinking water was collected in the bamboo cisterns to provide water for the wayward crew and animals. Remember, they could not drink the salt water of the new Black Sea. I will now take you step by step on the actual flooding of the Black Sea. Let me set the stage for you. The place is the Black Sea region. Since 12,000 BC, Europe had been under the influence of a glacial climate, causing the temperatures to fall and the rains to become scarce throughout Europe, Asia, and Africa. Precipitation in and around the Black Sea was low, and the level of the freshwater lake began to drop until it had fallen below the Bosporus outlet to the Mediterranean Sea. This ice age ended about 11,400 years ago. The area rejuvenated with warmth and moisture. I want to show you here, this is the whole key to the flooding of the Black Sea. Before the glaciers in Europe, before 12,000 BC, the Black Sea was at the same level with the Mediterranean Sea over here. And the fresh water from the Black Sea flowed through this Bosporus area into this sea and into the Mediterranean Sea. When the glacier period hit and everything dried up, the level of the Black Sea, the freshwater lake in the Black Sea, dropped 300 feet. And when that happened, this Bosporus Strait here, where the water flowed before, all dried up and filled in with silt. So there was not an opening here from the Mediterranean Sea to the Black Sea. And remember, this Mediterranean Sea, I'll show you here, was actually I won't show you here. The Mediterranean Sea was 300 feet higher than this. So you have the Mediterranean Sea here, you have this Bosporus Strait, or this land that's been filled in, and then you have the Black Sea level down here. So if this area of land ever gave way, all this water is going to come rushing in here. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, I'm burning up. Around 9000 BC, Mount Vesuvius erupted in Naples, Italy. Tsunamis occurred and caused the seawater to rush through the Bosporus Valley. Analysis of the saltwater mollusk found in the deep sediment of the Black Sea was dated back to 9000 BC. This is the material that you can find in the book that I was talking about, Noah's Flood. They had all kind of carbon dating on the mollusk. This event was one that Plato got confused about Atlantis. He was told by an Egyptian priest about a great flood. The priest was referring to the flooding of the Egyptian Nile Delta after the eruption of Mount Vesuvius and the subsequent tsunamis. This would have been about 9,000 years before Plato's time. Around 5960 BC, another eruption of Mount Vesuvius caused some more tsunamis. Close to that time period, around 6200 BC, another mini ice age occurred, drying up the lands of Anatolia and Mesopotamia. People migrated to the fresh shores of the Black Sea for refuge. Remember, this is also the time that the Garden of Eden project was started. Sea level was still below the level of the divide between the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. Around 5800 BC, the level of the Black Sea was 300 feet below the Mediterranean on the other side of the Bosporus Valley. Driven by the winds and tides, the waters of the Mediterranean began to eat away at the soils of the Bosporus Valley. According to archaeologists, around 3580 BC, Mount Vesuvius erupted again. Their estimates of the date is based on carbon dating. There were no eyewitness accounts and no recorded history. I believe the exact date was 3114 BC. This is the beginning of the Mayan calendar. I believe this because Noah was given 7 days to load the ark with his family and animals. not 6, not 8, but 7 days was he given. The rains and the flood were a carefully planned event. I believe this planned date was recorded in history as the start of the Mayan calendar. The Mayans were not even around in 3114 BC. Their descendants, however, in the form of the men around, did survive the Great Flood, as you will see shortly. The sons of God, at God's commandment, detonated an antimatter matter bomb within Mount Vesuvius to cause an eruption and subsequent tsunamis. The resulting dust cloud and particles caused both cooling and seeding of the moist atmosphere over the Mediterranean Sea. This is what caused the 40 days of rain to occur. The resulting tsunamis broke through the Bosphorus Valley. The salt sea water from the Mediterranean Sea began to flow through the now Bosphorus Strait at a rate 200 times that which flows over Niagara Falls. Special note, I know that tsunamis occurred after the Mount Vesuvius eruptions because the event was recorded by Pliny the Younger, a Greek historian, after the volcano's eruption around 79 AD. Meanwhile, the deluge of rain that had flooded the valley where the ark rested, raising the ark up. Finally, with the Black Sea rising at a tremendous rate, the top of the mountain separating the ark from the Black Sea was covered. I'll stop here and show you. This was the valley, Little Napa Valley, where Noah lived. This is the Black Sea over here, 300 feet lower than the Mediterranean. The waters are going to start rising after the rain, and the ark is going to start floating up in this valley. Genesis 7:17 through 24. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and was lifted above the earth. And the waters prevailed, and was greatly increased upon the earth. And the ark went upon the face of the waters. What we're talking about here is the rising waters in the river of Noah's Valley. This caused the ark to rise to above the top of the mountains and float into the waters of the Black Sea. So I'll show you here again the ark. The rain started. The Bosphorus Strait also was breached, and water started flowing into the Black Sea. The water level started rising, and the ark started rising here. You still have the top of the mountains here. According to the scripture, it went above these mountains, and then it floated out onto the Black Sea itself. Genesis 7:17 through 24. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits did the water prevail, and the mountain was covered. The Bosphorus Valley has now been breached in the flooding in the Black Sea region from the Mediterranean. In other words, here again, it got up right here at the top, then it went up, fix and tell you in a little bit, it went up 15 cubits, which is about 25 feet, and it reached the top of the mountain, and it went onto the Black Sea. And all the flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and of every man, all in whose nostrils was a breath of life. And all that was in the dry land died. Atlantis on the dry alluvial plain has now been destroyed. I showed you that picture a word ago where Atlantis and then the Sea of Azov covered it up. Well, that's when Atlantis was covered up by the waters. Those with the breath of life or the indwelling spirit has now been destroyed. And every living substance was destroyed which is upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. I've got a hydrology map of the Black Sea here. I'll show you how it floated around once it got up on the Black Sea. Now if you look at a hydrology map of the Black Sea, you would see that the currents would keep Noah in the ark in the lower eastern end of the Black Sea. It was caught in a gigantic, slow-moving whirlpool, in a sense. I want to show you this. I actually drew this, but I drew it circulating the wrong way, and then I found in the literature this hydrology map. I couldn't believe I found it. But this is where the Noah's Valley was. Once it got into the Black Sea, it started flowing down here along the coast, and right here is this whirlpool. That's a whirlpool there because there's some major rivers that come into this area. But this is where the ark spent all of its time. During the whole 375 days, it stayed right in this whirlpool. It didn't go up on this area here. It stayed right in this whirlpool region. Just kept circulating round and round. Genesis 8:3-4. And the waters returned from off the earth continually, and after the end of the 150 days the waters were abated. Where did the waters go? The waters went back out to the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. And the ark rested in the 7th month upon the mountains of Ararat. I believe the ark finally came to rest on the southeastern end of the Black Sea near the extinct volcano Kakar-Daki. This region was known as Urartu, which is also known as the land far away. This term is also translated and spelled Ararat. After the waters receded, the ark set atop the mountains of Urartu, or Ararat. I want to show you here, this is a real good picture. This is the Black Sea here. This is where the whirlpool was. You can see these mountains with snow on it. Right there is where you will find Noah's Ark. And I'm fixing to talk about that. But right here is where you'll find Noah's Ark. A lot of interest has been shown in recovering any remains of the ark from Mount Ararat in Turkey. Experts still continue to misinterpret the biblical statement, mountains of Ararat. Present-day Mount Ararat, the volcano, is located 200 miles south of the Ararat Mountains at an altitude of 5,123 feet above sea level. It would be impossible for that much water to be covering that part of the region. There is no geological record of such an event. Another helpful hint, Mount Ararat did not even get its name until this millennium. Genesis was written long before that. Special note, researchers should be looking for pieces of bitumen in the mountains of Ararat. Inside the bitumen, they just might find a small piece of preserved bamboo. Would that not be awesome? So where are we now? After 375 days of living on the ark, Noah and his clan departed with the animals. I'm sure the whole Black Sea area looked like the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. It would not be a favorable environment to set up housekeeping. There would be the remains of rotting bodies and putrefied plant decay. Noah and his family headed south to the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia, nowadays northern Iraq. You can picture them herding all their animals. In the distant looms a tall mountain, the present-day Ararat volcano. That would be their new heading. Noah and his family are totally unaware that others like them are trying to salvage their lives in the lands across the Black Sea. For those individuals, their accounts will be covered in the next episode. I'll show you here, this is a clay tablet that shows the map of Mesopotamia. And in this section here, it says the survivor of the Great Flood was here. And Noah came down to Mesopotamia, and from there he went over to Canaan. So, there you have the story of Noah and the Ark. I'll see you next episode. In the final episode of, we're going to talk about the Tower of Babel. So, good night. Papa Lee signing off. The Lord is my shepherd. Bye.